Well, the Fox News at Night Common Sense Department thinks these days a picture is worth a lot more than 1,000 words, especially when you include inflation and media bias. Because the White House Correspondents Association chose this as the picture of the year. Joe Biden walking out of the state dining room in the White House. That's it. But when the WHCA explains it, it's not just leaving the room. It's Biden, quote, centered in the image, yet surrounded and visually almost overwhelmed by the historic weight of the White House. I mean, can you feel it, right? Because common sense thinks it looks like Biden walking away. And yet it's the picture of the year. The same year, by the way, that Donald Trump was nearly assassinated. And it was all captured on film. Not just the blood and the fist pump, but the bullet passing by Trump's head after striking his ear. The same bullet picture that will live in infamy, that will go down in history, that has now won the Pulitzer, but lost the White House Correspondents' Contest because, as we have learned, the media doesn't like Trump to win things. Truth is, the picture could have shown Trump turning and catching the bullet, and it still would not have won. Common Sense thinks the winning picture of Biden was not worth 1,000 words. In fact, it only needed 2 words. Not Trump. Let's bring in political commentator and walkaway spokesperson Natalie Beisner, along with SeattleRed.com creator and talk radio host Jason Rantz. Thank you both for coming on. Here's more, by the way, Jason Rantz, of the description of the picture that won the White House Correspondents Association Prize for Picture of the Year. The only other living human in the picture, it says, we can put it up, is looking away from Biden, but the president is not unseen. He moves under the gaze of a reflective President Lincoln, completing this striking portrait of both a sitting president and the presidency itself. It kind of reminds me, you know, when a sommelier is at the table and he's giving you the description of the wine, you're like, what in the world is this guy saying? It kind of has a little bit of that going on there, Jason.
It was, excuse me. Oh my gosh, that was just so touching. I'm so grateful for them to paint that picture for me, to try to convince me and manipulate me into thinking that that photo is somehow a reflection of the best work that was done. Clearly, this, again, is part of the partisanship that the White House Correspondents Association has been very well known for. And that's a shame, because what they do is incredibly important, or it can be. But when they abuse their positions and they use it simply to push propaganda, well, they're doing a disservice to us all.
Yeah, they really are. Meantime, Kristi Noem being asked why she is deporting U.S. citizens. And she said the following. Watch.
Will any of the funding, either through appropriations or through reconciliation, be used to execute this policy idea of Donald Trump's, which is deporting U.S. citizens abroad?
We have not deported any U.S. citizens, and so that false media narrative that you've heard out there just simply isn't true.
I mean, they allowed some parents to take their kids with them, the parents who were deported back to their countries. And can you imagine if they didn't allow their kids to go with these parents? The left would be screaming bloody murder.
Exactly. We'd be hearing that they're separating families yet again. Right. The Democrats are always so rude during these hearings, and today was no exception. They were so dismissive of Secretary Noem. They repeated the lie several times that we're deporting U.S. citizens, and this is also a pointless question to ask. I don't think that DHS has ever suggested that they're going to be using additional funds to start deporting U.S. citizens. So ultimately, this is just a waste of taxpayer dollars so they can get their little viral clips in looking like they're taking down Republicans.
Yeah. The KTTH headline, Jason Rantz, reads as follows here. Anti-Semites held UW building, University of Washington building, but will officials finally call this domestic terrorism? I don't know. It's your headline. You give us the answer. Will they finally call this?
They have taken a step in the right direction and at least calling these kids out for what they are, which are anti-Semites, right? I mean, they released a manifesto in which they said, and this is a direct quote, we're taking this building following the heroic victory of Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th. Okay, they are celebrating the terrorist attacks against Israel. They are anti-Semites. Every single one of them who are students should be expelled. Period. And if they don't immediately expel these students, the University of Washington is telling us exactly where they stand. And by the way, the UW put out a statement tonight saying that the kids did $1 million worth of damage to this brand new building. So they better pay a price for that.
Yeah, something's coming down. Meantime, here's MSNBC walking back, not walking away, but walking back a statement. Watch.
Let's circle back to a segment from Friday's show. Frank Figliuzzi was on that morning during this hour discussing the work of administration officials. At the end of that segment, Figliuzzi said that FBI Director Kash Patel has reportedly been more visible at nightclubs than at his office at FBI headquarters. This was a misstatement. We have not verified that claim.
Yeah, it's laughable, and they had to kind of walk it back. And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a contest every week to see who walks back more statements, MSNBC or The View, and it kind of is a neck-and-neck race at the end.
Yeah, you're right. And these retractions, legally they're necessary, but they're also so pointless because by that time the lie has already spread, and it's just a little footnote or a few seconds here, and then they're on to the next lie in the case of MSNBC. But it doesn't surprise me that this is a misstatement from Frank Figliuzzi, who's a former FBI official, because in 2019, he compared Trump supporters to terrorists and also said that Trump was putting the flag at half-mast to send a message to white supremacists on August 8th, because I guess that's an important day for them. I think that Dan Bongino said it best in 2019 when he was commenting on that, which is that MSNBC will let any lunatic on air as long as they're saying something negative about Donald Trump and his administration.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Natalie Beisner, Jason Rantz, thank you both.